Hello and welcome back everybody to the Foodbuild factory, where today we're going to take a look at the Huntress. That's the girl you can see on screen right now. And as always, I'm going to show you some gameplay in the first part of the video, and in the second part of the video we're going to take a look at the perks, the mutations, our equipment and everything else you need to know. Now what this is going to be about is I want to talk about double dipping in this video, which is a term used to describe certain weapons. Nowadays there's not a lot anymore. There never were a whole lot to begin with in the game, but the most prominent example of double dipping was basically the meat hook. That weapon was able to benefit from both the gladiator perks as well as the iron fist perk back in the days. Now that made this weapon, the meat hook, I think it was the most powerful melee or close combat weapon in the game, and you were able to ditch out ridiculous numbers like killing the Scorch Beast Queen within 1 or 2 hits. So, well, Bethesda nerfed it. Or, nerfing is technically not the right term because they just patched it. It was never an intended feature. Now, 2 weapons that still work like that are the pipe revolver and the pipe bolt action rifle. Now both of them, if you were to equip a rifleman stock, like any stock that isn't a pistol grip, you can use both the rifleman perks as well as the pistol perks, the gunslinger perks, and both of them benefit you. Now this was also very effective back in the day, and nowadays with additive damage bonuses it's not that great anymore, but still you're going to get a good chunk more damage than you would with just using the weapons as rifleman or gunslinger. Now the big drawback to this obviously is, well, that's 9 perk points spent for just additional damage, and we're not talking about a whole lot of damage here. It's like, let's take a look at the weapon card real quick. We're at 172. I think without all the gunslinger perks we are somewhere around 130 or so. So it's not the greatest damage increase in the world, but still it's significant enough. We notice it, and I always viewed that as some kind of way to just make pipe weapons more viable. Now you're probably aware that this started in Fallout 4. Pipe weapons are a really cool addition. I do like them a lot. I do like their aesthetic. I think they have a good place in the Fallout universe. They're really fitting. They just never were endgame worthy for the most part. Now, if you were to take a look at a standard pipe rifle, the one that you can turn automatic, now that one doesn't benefit from double dipping. However, since Stealth Commando is so efficient, you can use that and in an endgame scenario. Nowadays with additive damages, it's still not the best idea, but you can definitely make it work. Let's go for the tails here. I heard that that's the weak point for the floaters, but well, they're kind of tough. They're level 100, so yeah. With a crit we can take them down. Not that big of a deal here. Back to the topic, yes. What we're utilizing here is a pipe bolt action rifle. The other version we could use would be a pipe revolver. Now, personally, I do kind of prefer the pipe revolver a little bit, simply because, yeah, it feels more fluent to use. Yeah, you don't have to reload so long, and yeah, it just feels better in my opinion. The thing is though that the pipe bolt action rifle has a bit of a punch, a bit more definitely than the pipe revolver. Now, even if we combine both the rifleman and the gunslinger perks, we're still not at an efficiency like using a gauss rifle, for example. I also had a railway rifle at hand when I was looking at the damage that was also doing more damage than the rifle here. So overall you can say it's not the best idea. Like, you're pretty much better off if you go for a 50 cal hunting rifle or something like that. The thing is though, this is just a neat little trick, as I said earlier, in order to use pipe weapons if you wanted to. Like, if that's what you want to do, if you want to run around with pipe weapons, and I think there's an argument why you could do that, because yeah, they simply are kind of cool. They are this wastelander look, bit of a scavenger look. Maybe you're someone who likes crafting and such, and maybe thinks that that would be a good idea. Yeah, you can definitely use them. Now, another big drawback compared to other ballistic rifles, this weapon tends to have relatively low range. Now, on the perk card, it doesn't even seem all that bad. The thing is though that for some reason the damage drop off on this weapon really hurts it. Like, shooting someone out of range is always kind of messy, but with this weapon in particular, it feels like you're shooting peas at enemies if they are out of range. So you want to stick to relatively close range up to mid-range in order to kill your enemies, but that's also just good because yeah, you want to have that little bit of that's hit chance going on. You also, yeah, I mean, I personally, if I see a 60% chance, I might take it. However, yeah, that's up to you basically. Now, this is kind of a problem when it comes to this here Scorch Beast. As you can see, it's not really in range, but now it is, and I think it's going to land here. We do have an instigating weapon, I can say that much. The thing is, instigating isn't the best effect anymore, and it certainly isn't very good on weapons that rely heavily on mods in order to get damage. Same goes for weapon perks, so this is actually not a really good weapon for the instigating effect, quite simply. It's just the best I had in hand, and it still performs quite well. Now, as you can see here, we do need some time in order to take down something like a Scorch Beast, but also keep in mind we didn't really get our bonuses from the sneak attacks, since the enemy was fighting other enemies and therefore was in danger. But overall, I do quite like how the weapon feels. We do have faster fire rate on the weapon, which is always something people say, like on recoil, no, pipe bolt or bolt action weapons, sorry, or single action weapons. The faster fire rate effect is useless, which I don't think at all. Like, it's definitely not the best perk, but you really see a difference when it comes to the rechambering. So if you're using this compared to a weapon, a pipe bolt action rifle without the faster fire rate effect, you definitely see that there's a noticeable difference. Now, the other thing we're utilizing here is stealth. However, while we are spec'd into stealth, meaning we have high agility and all the necessary stealth perks, this time around what I usually do is I usually run around with a full set of chameleon armor, which I'm not doing here. I think I have 2 pieces or something. That's because I have just slapped on random armor pieces in order to get 4 additional luck. So my end goal was to get 23 luck. I've shown that off in 1 or even 2 videos at this time, but our weapon does have the effect of VETS crits filling faster, and if you have that effect, you can, yeah, you do need 23 luck in order to refill your critical meter within a single shot. Alright, let's see here. Just looked like it didn't refill. It did for all the time. Now maybe we have a debuff. Is that possible? Yeah, we have the blight, I guess. Yeah. So we gotta heal that real quick. Where is it? Disease cure. So we are back to 23 luck. Yes. Can go for the thruster. The second time wasn't even a critical, so looks like a standard shot through the thruster takes these guys down in a single shot, which is nice. Always a nice surprise. On this occasion we don't have the Assaultron. Now I am fairly confident that we could have taken him down relatively effective since we're sneaky, so we do have time for some shots before he turns invisible. Yeah, could have been a bit tedious waiting for him to get out of his stealth field, but yeah, anyways, glad he wasn't there, let's say that much. Back to the topic, yeah, what you can't do is you can't use them, the weapons as pistols and do that. As I said in the beginning of the video, you do have to use rifle stocks, and the whole reason I'm basically making a video about this is, yeah, this was a topic on and off for pretty much the whole time the game was live. Obviously back when when damage bonuses were all multiplicative, this was a really powerful combination. Like, with double dipping you could really bring, I think this here instigating pipe bolt action rifle would have been on par with a Gauss rifle, if not surpassing it. Was pretty ridiculous. However, on the other side, these weapons were never so extremely overpowered that Bethesda felt like they need to do something about it. I mean, I can't imagine they're not aware of the topic, because, yeah, as I said, it's possible to do this double dipping since the game came out, and yeah, they clearly acknowledged it when it comes to the meat hook, just because it was so popular. But I think they know about this, but never bothered to patch it out, simply because it's actually quite a fun little feature, because it's not making you super OP or anything, or lets you steal other people's weapons, other people's bosses, so you can just one-shot kill every boss or anything. So therefore, I'm fairly confident to say that this will stick at least for a long time. I never saw a mention of Bethesda saying they want to remove it or anything, because if you look at it like that, the weapons aren't all that powerful, so you can really use that little benefit. I mean, it's ultimately up to you if you say you want to invest 9 perk points to make this happen. However, I'm not feeling like I'm missing out on a whole lot. Now, the reason I'm being is I'm using stealth here, and so I can dish out on a lot of perks I usually use, like for example Action Girl on in this case would be something, or Adrenaline. However, if you look at it like that, usually what you want to do is you want to use Adrenaline probably in Agility in addition to all your sneak perks, and yeah, basically you're getting the full effect of Adrenaline all the time by just using the Gunslinger perks in this case. So is it worth it? Is it not? Well, I think you just have to try it. Recently the topic was brought up quite a bit. Funnily enough, one of you guys commented under one of my videos saying you wanted to see that, and pretty much around the same time, like I think it was an hour earlier or something, was looking online and on Reddit, and saw people talking about this double dipping, if it's still the case, and the answer were kind of all over the place. Some people said it's still possible, some people said it's patched out. I was fairly sure that it's still possible, because I never seen any Inside the Vault article or so stating otherwise. So I was pretty sure that you can still do that, but I wanted to test it out, and ultimately, yes, the answer is that it still works. You can still utilize it. Now here we do have a legendary. I guess we're taking care of him. Now, one thing you'll see here is that while our weapon is instigating, sometimes our second shot seems to do even more damage. That's because of the legendary perk follow through, which is very powerful, and it gives you 40% additional damage, but this is multiplicative, meaning that on a lot of weapons the effect from follow through will actually be more powerful than the instigating effect. Now, to explain what I mean here is, the instigating effect, when it got nerfed to be additive damage, now only affects the base damage of the weapon. Now, what is the base damage of the weapon? That's the damage you would deal if you have no perk card equipped relating to its damage, so no Rifleman, no Gunslinger, no Bloody Mess, etc. You know what I mean. And in addition to that, the standard receiver. Now, the one thing that applies to pretty much any character using something with an instigating effect is, well, yes, that the damage per cards don't relate anymore. They don't matter in for how much damage the instigating effect does. That still means though that on some weapons the instigating effect works better, and the weapons that work well with instigating are those that have, they start pretty much with their base damage. Now, for example, plasma weapons, they don't increase their damage through their capacitors, as far as I am aware, unless you're using a prime capacitor, or weapons like the black powder rifle. It has no mod, except for the bayonet. So you don't alter your damage with mods, which means that your instigating effect does a little bit more damage, because the base damage of the weapon is already what you get. So, if that makes sense. That's also the reason why on this weapon it's not so great, because you do quite rely on modding this weapon out. If it has the standard receiver, I think it does like half the damage. So yeah, ultimately the instigating effect doesn't add all that much. If I could choose any kind of weapon for this year, I'd love like a quad Vetskrit pipe revolver as a side rifle, but as a main weapon, if I want to go for this sniper route, I would probably go for something like anti-armor explosive, or maybe a junkies route. Obviously bloodied is always a good idea, but you know, I'm not showcasing bloodied as much simply because there's a lot of content about it. So yeah, anti-armor or junkies would probably be a bit more beneficial in the long term, but still, we're performing quite well. We're not one-shotting everything, but well, especially ghouls and such go down very easily. We're quite stealthy, so even if we take a second shot, it's not that big of a deal. And you can see here, even high level super mutants up to a certain degree go down quite effectively. Now, couple that in with having a crit on every second shot. If you're facing something that's a bit more tough, like let's say this here level 100 super mutant, the best approach is to utilize your instigating effect without any additional damage, so just shooting the enemy, and if you then follow up with a crit, that extra damage from the crit also gets 40% extra damage from your follow through perk, meaning your second shot is very powerful. So yeah, most mobs go down in at the very max 2 shots. Now I don't know, yeah, you saw it earlier with a legendary, I guess, where it took a bit more, but that's just, yeah, that's just when you're having a legendary there. Shouldn't be that big of a deal. Now we're in a bit of a dangerous place here, but yeah, as you can see here, it goes well. Enemies don't know where we are, so yeah, we can just cruise through. I decided to go for rank 2 of ground pounder and rank 1 of concentrated fire. Now we do have a single action weapon, a single semi-automatic weapon, no, not semi-automatic, but a slow firing weapon, so therefore concentrated fire at rank 3 would work very well with this here. However, since we're just having 6 shot in the magazine, I decided to go for rank 2 of ground pounder. We're reloading a lot and reducing that by, I think it's 20% at rank 2. Yeah, that makes a difference here. So faster reload would also be nice. You're not depending on crits as much, so ultimately you can definitely do something else. I kind of like to go around with this thing. Obviously, where this falls flat is when you're fighting the Queen, for example, or yeah, events like Radiation Rumble, where you just have to get a lot of shots and a lot of enemies. Yeah, that's kind of where your usefulness stops a little bit, because yeah, you're just reloading all the time. But as long as you're just farming enemies, there's absolutely nothing you can't do with this weapon here. So you could argument that I guess instead of faster fire rate, better VETS hit chance would be very nice on this weapon here. Explosive, I kind of like the combination of explosive and instigating, because if I have an instigating weapon, for example this here Super Mutant Demolisher, that bit of health that's left would probably have been gone if we had the explosive effect. So that's just why I like it. It can mess with your instigating effect if you're shooting ghouls that are standing in a group, but yeah, ultimately it's more about the weapon here and the double dipping. One thing I wanted to do here is I quickly want to show you how much the perks actually do. So I completely unnecessarily equipped everything here, but yeah, fuck it. Expert Gunslinger and... okay, wait a second. We now have 116 damage. If we add the Rifleman perks, not Commando, there it is, Expert Rifleman, Master Rifleman and Rifleman, that goes up to 158, so you can see quite a good increase here, so that's definitely useful. And now we're adding in some Gunslinger perks, trying to get all that we had earlier. Expert Gunslinger, Master Gunslinger. So as you can see here, I went for 2 different Gunslinger perks maxed out. Obviously the most beneficial one would be if you go for 3 of them with rank 2, so that would give you a little bit more damage. And ultimately what I did here is I added this one here as well. So no, I didn't, wait a second, yeah, there was no room. That was something I experimented with earlier. So this is what we're going for, another 2 times 20% damage bonus, and that brings us up to 185. So as you can see, it's definitely worth it to invest into both of them. It's not like they're useless. I mean, as I said, it's debatable. Alright, I don't have concentrate fire on, so going for a manual shot here. This could have taken 5 minutes based on my experience with my aim, but anyways, I think we're done here. So let's take a closer look at the weapon. We do have an instigating pipe bolt action rifle with faster fire rate and VETS crit meter filling faster. Now the VETS crit meter, as I said, it's nice if you can get your luck up to 23. It's very useful. Otherwise, I'd say, well, if you're getting a crit every second shot rather than every with a single shot, yeah, if that makes all that much of a difference, I don't know. Now, one thing to note is the condition of this thing is kind of ridiculous, to be honest. Now, I'm running this for like 8 hours, 8 to 10 hours, and I fully repaired it to 100%, and you can see how little it lost. Now, you're firing slowly, but still it must have been like 2,000 shots or something I have taken, but yeah, barely anything that's moving when it comes to the condition bar. Onto our armor. Interesting part here, 2 chameleon pieces, 1 1-star, 1 with extra luck, and the Cavalier perk. But yeah, then we have some random stuff here, Mutant Slayers and 2 Vanguards pieces. The thing is, we do have 4 pieces with extra luck here, just to boost our luck enough. And in terms of apparel, we do have a shielded vault suit, that's important, another 2 luck, which is nice. Ideally, something that gives you extra agility would be cool as well, but yeah, can't afford that at the moment simply for the luck. And lastly, second with straps and the Red Stack Hide outfit. Now, when it comes to our mutations, pretty general stuff, I'd say. Adrenal Reaction, Bird Bones, Eagle Eyes, Egghead, Marsupial, Speed Demon. Nothing out of the ordinary if you're looking at a sniper, stealth character. Extra agility, extra perception from Bird Bones and Eagle Eyes, extra crit damage, which is nice. Adrenal Reaction, since we're trying to not get shot anyways, we can deal with a little bit less HP, and being shot, as you can see here, doing some stray, getting some stray fire in during fights you often end up in like with half of your health during a fight, and you really notice the difference. It can make the difference between one-shotting and not one-shotting a character. Now, you obviously want to heal up once you're out of a fighting situation, or if you're getting too close to being dead, obviously. But overall, you don't have to fear all that much if you just lost like 30%, 40% health. You can go with that for a while. Egghead, a little bit more intelligence. Our endurance and strength is already down the cellar, so no reason to worry about that any further. And lastly, Marsupial and Speed Demon, obviously the faster reload speed works well with our ground powder perks, so there's that. And now on to our perks themselves. The only thing I have to restore here a little bit is in Perception, rank 2 of Ground Pounder, and lastly Tank Killer. Alright, so let's take a look at it. Strength 5, pretty standard on this character here. Rank 2 of Bandolier. Well, I carry a lot of ballistic ammo here, so that's just a given. And if you don't have so much legendary perks to boost your stats, you don't need blocker here. It's something I like to have in addition, just because if a mutant hound, for example, gets a bite in, yeah, that's reduced by a whole lot, but you can definitely live without it. Important here, Perception, all the rifleman perks maxed out, 1 rank of concentrated fire so we can target limbs, rank 2 of Ground Pounder. We're not really using the hipfire accuracy, but the 20% faster reload, that's very nice. I explained that in the video. And lastly, Tank Killer. Quite obvious, we want to have armor penetration, and on this case we're using technically a pistol and a rifle, so yeah, Tank Killer definitely works here and also is recommended in my opinion. In endurance, we have a fairly middle ground with 7 endurance, life giver and fireproof. Pretty generic combination here. A little bit more HP, basically setting off our debuff from adrenal reaction, and fireproof, well, makes it easy to fight Scorched Beast because their attacks don't do no damage. We're not getting damaged all that much by a suicider or a exploding car, so yeah, fireproof, always a nice pick. When it comes to charisma, we do have Tenderizer. Now, arguably not especially necessary, however, once we're fighting enemies that are higher level or something like Scorched Beast, Sheep Squatch, etc. Yeah, we're getting into the realm where our instigating effect does nothing for us, so we basically use perks, also the legendary perks, in order to boost that, meaning that our second shot will get boosted by follow through as well as Tenderizer, giving it 50 additional damage, 50%, and that's multiplicatively Tenderizer as well as follow through. So that gives our second shot a lot of damage here. Intelligence, we do have First Aid and Nerd Rage. Now, I do have a lot of intelligence from the legendary perk, so I just wanted to not go down too much. Theoretically though, you can play this with 1 intelligence, since there's nothing you really need. Like, I shown you the condition of the weapon. You don't need to invest into Licensed Plumber, which would be the perk that's affecting the weapon, unless you just want to shoot that thing forever or something. I went for First Aid, so simply once I take a stim pack, I don't have to worry all that much, and I just know that my health will be restored to basically 100% most of the times. And Nerd Rage, well, it's just kind of nice to have even on a not bloodied character, in my opinion, because I often use the term safety net. Like, it's pretty simple. I don't really have to take a look at my health all that much during fights. It's not like that's a super tedious task or anything, but it's also nice to not have to worry about it, because you will automatically, you will notice if you go down to 20% health due to Nerd Rage. That's the time when you just spam Stim Pack, and also Nerd Rage gives you more survivability if that's the case that you're getting damaged, so you have a bit more time to react using a Stim Pack. Simple as that. And as I said, I just had some intelligence here and nothing to burn it on, actually. The only thing, if you have an explosive weapon or you maybe want to use some grenades from stealth, Demo Expert, always a nice pick. Onto agility, we do have Sneak, Escape Artist, Covert Operative, Action Girl at rank 2, Expert Gunslinger, and Master Gunslinger. Now, Sneak, pretty obvious, same for Escape Artist and Covert Operative. We are a stealth character, we want to get a bit more damage from our stealth attacks, so these perks, pretty straightforward. Expert Gunslinger and Master Gunslinger. Now, this is the point where you can experiment a little bit. Now, you can go down the full route and say like you want to use rank 2 of Gunslinger in addition to all of that to get more damage. I went for Action Girl to have a little bit of AP refresh. You can see here we don't have Lone Wanderer, and yeah, we don't have any armor piece with the powered effect, so I think a bit action point refresh is nice to have. You could go for Adrenaline here, you could go for Gun Fu, which on this occasion I just didn't use. I never find that it's missing a whole lot. Like, you can easily kill an enemy, retap your VATS button, kill another enemy. The damage buff would be nice from Gun Fu, but yeah, you can definitely live without it, and I'm using it so often that yeah, on this occasion I decided against it. So overall, what's there to say? Well, this is where you can experiment. Like, as I said, if you want to maximize this here out, rank 2 of Gunslinger, Expert and Master Gunslinger would be the most beneficial thing to do, because the first rank gives you 10% extra damage, while the second and third rank give you just 5%. So if you're using Expert and Master Gunslinger at rank 3, you're looking at a combined value of 40% damage. If you were to use all 3 perks at rank 2, you'd look at 30% plus an additional 15%, so that's 45%. I hope, at least. I'm not a mathematician. And on to luck. We do have Bloody Mask, Grim Reaper Sprint at rank 1, Better Criticals, Class Freak, Starch Jeans and Critical Savvy. Now, we don't have to invest a whole lot into crits, since our luck is high enough with the VATS effect to make it work, that Critical Savvy alone is enough to refill our critical meter with all these other requirements in a single shot. Better Criticals, well, if we're doing crits half of the time, might as well make them better. 1 rank of Grim Reaper Sprint. I wanted to have 15 luck here just to make it easier for me to reach 23 luck, and since Starch Jeans is a 2 point per card, I was left with a single rank, and I found Grim Reaper Sprint. Even though it's just a 50% chance, it's the most beneficial here. Bloody Mess, just yet another bit of damage. We take every single bit we can in order to maximize our damage output here. And Class Freak, Starch Jeans, pretty straightforward. Yeah, we want to stay mutated and don't get any new mutations, so yeah, there's that. And onto our legendary perks. We do have legendary luck at rank 2. Obviously, for every further rank you take, you can take off one of your equipment pieces with extra luck. So if this was maxed out here, 2 ranks, 2 armor pieces with the luck plus luck effect would be enough. Follow through maxed out, one of the most powerful legendary perks in my opinion. Legendary endurance at rank 2, intelligence at 5, strength at 2 and perception at 2. So you can see here nothing out of the ordinary. It's just a whole lot of investment into legendary stats, and the only thing that really relates to the build itself is follow through, because we are a sneak build. So pretty straightforward here. And after all, that was it. I hope you enjoyed the video. If I had to make a conclusion, I would never say that double dipping is the best way to go for things. It's after all a lot of investment in order to get some damage out. However, the nice thing about it is I would ideally like more of these kind of twists in the game, because it actually just gives you a bit more options, and options are always nice. You see, some of the weapons are just cool in my opinion. I just do like them. The fact that they are sometimes underperforming is kind of sad. And if you have some ways when you say, okay, I know the game, I can specialize in it, I want to make a character that uses pipe weapons, and I want to do that up to the level 50s and above, then I think there's nothing wrong if the game gives you an option. Obviously, yeah, sure, you will always have one best build, that you can follow if you want to have the best damage output, but I'm fine if I have the option to use a weapon and be viable enough to explore the wasteland, explore Appalachia, and contribute to events. I'm not necessarily needing to solo the Scorch Beast Queen. Well, anyways, that being said, I do quite like double dipping still. It's a fun thing to do. Ideally, I would have liked to shown you a quad explosive pipe revolver rifle as a sidearm or something, but yeah, as of late this should have been everything we need. Just the last thing I just remembered I wanted to say in the video, the scope, that's just something I went for the visuals. Now you're better off with the reflex sight that reduces the IP cost if you're firing in VATS. As far as I'm aware, the scope doesn't give you better VATS hit chance. It just increases your range a little bit, but that's about it. So yeah, if you want to, the better or the best option would probably be a reflex sight here. I just felt like I could afford to pay a bit more AP, so yeah, I wanted to have that real scope up there. You could even put a recon scope on it, I think. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time. Bye.